Is that keeping it real? Your kids, your family, everybody suffering now. You at home, maybe even you was the sole provider. And maybe you was the sole provider, and now you in jail behind a guy you just met 30 minutes ago because you didn't say something. Right. One of the biggest cancers in my community, in any minority-driven community, but mostly in the black community, is this statement, this energy, this thing. Keeping it real. Now my question is, what is exactly keeping it real? And what are the guidelines? I mean, if you come from the streets, then there's the street code. You know, is that keeping it real? Because that's involves certain things like, you know, no snitching. If you're involved in gangster activity, then you gotta abide by gangster laws. But what is keeping it real? Is it if you get large amounts of money and you then come back to the hood and give back? Is that keeping it real? Is keeping it real if, let's say you met a guy and 30 minutes after you just met this guy, y'all, let's say you didn't know he was involved in some illegal activity. Y'all get picked up by the police within 30 minutes of meeting him. You just met him. Now y'all both in the interrogation room. You got kids. So what happens next? If you speak on it, is that snitching? Is that keeping it real? What if you don't say nothing, you go to jail behind it? Behind a guy you just met 30 minutes ago? Is that keeping it real? Your kids, your family, everybody suffering now. You at home, maybe even you was the sole provider. And maybe you was the sole provider, and now you in jail behind a guy you just met 30 minutes ago because you didn't say something. And now your family about to be out on the street. So are you still real in the streets? But what's more important, being real in the streets or being real at home? Here's a couple questions we have to ask here because the lines are getting blurred. There's too many gray areas. There's too many gray areas. What is a real nigga? What is keeping it real? What are the guidelines? What are the rules? What is it? Now, I personally know, but the rules for somebody else might be different. It might not be the same. Somebody that you might call a snitch or you might call a sucker or something like that might have a different description of what real is to them. And all they have to do is get on social media and get a couple people to say, hey, you know what, you're right. And now that claim is validated. And it seems that that is a consistent thing that's going on now, because right now you have a bunch of people on social media that claim to be correct about something. And if you try to tell them they're incorrect, they will not stray away from their belief because of the fact that maybe how many followers they have, maybe how many people told them, oh, I agree with that. So the nation is no longer open-minded to others' opinions as much as we would like it to be. What a lot of us are doing is we're forming an opinion in our head, doing no research on it, and then we're broadcasting that to the world on social media. And when people come and say, oh, yeah, I believe that too, now it's correct. No. But then again, who's to say that my opinion right now is accurate? Then there begs the next question. What is right and wrong? What should be a thought and what shouldn't be a thought? What is acceptable? These are the things that are going on right now. This is the energy that is out there. There's no more black and white. There's no more, this is the defining line. You cannot go past this line. Now the lanes are just open. There's just all gray areas. And in some cases that might be good. But I find that in a lot of cases it isn't. But because of the fact that there's a possibility of there being good cases in it, we overlook and allow it to be. So what is the lines? What is the hard line in all of this? Don't take this as me saying I don't know, because I have my own defining lines. But in a lot of cases, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have witnessed this. You meet somebody and you witness something in them that you say to yourself, oh, you should have more common sense than that, or you should know better than that. But then to your surprise, they don't, and they do it anyway. And I think that's becoming more and more prevalent, more and more present currently in this society we have now. It's a lot of disappointment. It's a lot of people that you meet and they make you do this. Like, why do you think that way? Why? You should know better than that. You should, you know what I mean? And it's just disappointing. But again, what are the laws? What is the lines? What is the black and white moment in all of this? See, if we're going to be specific to minorities, we have to get back to speaking to each other. We do not speak. We don't speak. I get more positive interactions from Caucasian people than I do my own people. I can't tell you how many countless stores, establishments, businesses, whatever I've walked into, and the black woman around the corner, the black woman behind the counter has the rudest attitude I've ever seen in my life. I say, hey, how you doing? She look at me just like, But then you go to the next register and it's a older white woman there. I say, hey, how you doing? She said, oh, I'm okay. How are you doing today? Now, why is that? Now, I'm not saying all my sisters or all my brothers are like that. Again, we're not going to go through that. We know all of anything can't be one thing. So it's not all. But I do see a high percentage of my people with these bad attitudes towards other black people. I see it all the time. I say hi to somebody, they give me an attitude, but then when a white person walk up, now they have manners. Is that keeping it real? Because it seems like everybody on social media has this great idea of what keeping it real is. Everybody keeping it real. Everybody in the world keeping it real. But I'm seeing out in the real world people doing the opposite. If you have a different perception, comment down below, let me know. But I don't understand what the disconnect is. How are we on this whole woke thing when most of us can't even have a decent conversation without weed, alcohol, drugs, prostitutes, strippers, whatever, being involved in it, or a fight breaking out, or a shootout happening. In my personal thoughts, that makes me feel like white people have succeeded in the ultimate goal of division amongst the minorities. Because yes, we can all sit up here and shout on social media, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. But the thing is, we can't physically come together to do anything because we can't even communicate. But let's get back to keeping it real. I think that keeping it real should be something that you just do. It should not be a goal you aspire to be, or a goal you aspire to do, whatever. Keeping it real is just, it's in you or it isn't. All right? So we have to stop providing this label on anything and everything that we describe real with. Because what you may describe as real might not be real to the next person. It just blurs the lines. That's all it does. It's just blurring the lines. All right? So the next step, I think, for us is being able to have clarity and understand what it is that's going on in this country. Being able to understand the barriers, the dysfunctions, the energy, and being able to decide what that means to you. How does it affect you? And then come up with a solution and find other people that are also willing to come up with a solution and band together and affect change, maybe in a local community. The times of changing the world, in my opinion, are done because of the fact that the division, the deep-rooted division that we have in this country amongst the minorities is so deep that it's just unfathomable. Like, it's not even something I can explain fully. I hope now that individual groups of minorities can band together and one day form a large group and affect change locally or maybe nationally. I don't know. But this notion of keeping it real, of real niggas, of all this unnecessary, barbaric, old-fashioned thought, that doesn't work. It's just a cancer. It's very cancerous. You know what I'm saying? We have to move past our dysfunctions as a community. And keeping it real, you can't... I don't know, man. Comment down below. Share your opinion. Let me know what you think about it. If you only knew how much potential and how far you could go if you just loved yourself and took the time to yourself to really apply yourself to whatever it is that's going on in your head. Followers are a no-go. Be a leader. Stand on your own too. Confront that fear. Alright. Keep the willpower. Stay strong. I'm gone.
back up, back up, back up, back up. Back up, back up, back up, back up. Back up, back up, back up, back up.